F1 2019 season, what's new? With the festive season now behind us, we are all back at work. There's less than a month to go to the start of winter testing, with the first session taking place in Barcelona from 18 to 21 February, followed by a second stint from 26 February to 1 March. There's a real buzz in our Funza and Bicester premises, with everyone working flat out, with the aim of getting the first sounds out of our STR14, namely the famous and much-awaited fire-up when, along with our partners at Honda, we will bring the car to life for the first time. Another long and demanding season awaits and, as usual, it gets underway with the Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne on 17 March. Once again this year, there are 21 races on the calendar, with the final checkered flag being waved at Abu Dhabi's Yas Marina circuit on 1 December. Actually, this year for the first time, it will only be waved symbolically, as the end of all sessions will now be indicated by electronic light panels controlled by the race director. It's another step aimed at avoiding human error, even if these were pretty rare. It's just one of the changes to the sporting rules introduced for 2019. In addition, there was a change to the restart procedure following a safety car period. As from this year, drivers will not have to worry about the safety car line, but instead, they will be able to overtake only after crossing the start-finish line. The technical regulations also feature a few modifications. Some aerodynamic elements are no longer allowed and there are slight changes to the wings, with the front one being simplified in order to reduce turbulence so that cars can race closer together, thus increasing the chances of overtaking. The rear wing can be fitted with a higher flap that will create a greater speed differential between the wing in its normal position and when it is in DRS configuration. Then we have a change on the tire front. In order to make tire choice more understandable, Pirelli will only run 3 colors throughout the 2019 season: white, yellow and red, corresponding to the hard, medium and soft compounds. In fact, 5 compounds will be used throughout the year, from the hardest, C1 to the softest C5, but at each race, the names and colors will be the same 3. You already know about the main change when it comes to our team. It concerns our driver lineup, which sees Daniil Kvyat make a welcome return to our squad, with the Russian partner in Alexander Albon. The 22-year-old Anglo-Thai driver is making his Formula One debut, moving up from a successful time in Formula 2. Next news feature: can Mattia Binotto end Ferrari's decade-long drought? Ferrari's fingers have been hovering for much of the last 12 months, but this week it finally pulled the trigger and put an end to Maurizio Arrivabene's tenure as Ferrari team principal. What went wrong and what challenges does his successor Mattia Binotto face? The more successful Ferrari became under Arrivabene, the more perilous his position became, because for all of the growth and its re-emergence as a force to be reckoned with, it remained agonizingly short of the championship that it so craves, nay, demands. Ferrari is one of very few globally recognized brands for whom winning is not a pursuit but an obligation. Any race it loses is a failure to win. Any title it fails to take is a catastrophe. And the past decade has largely been a dismally fallow period following the halcyon days of the early 2000s, in which it could do no wrong, and which it has failed to replicate. Ferrari was drafted in by newly appointed chairman Sergio Marchionne in late 2014, at the conclusion of one of the most tumultuous years in Ferrari's Formula One history. The suave Ferrari initially provided much-needed stability, but slowly but surely the situation unraveled. A culture of fear had been fostered by both Marchionne and Ferrari, stifling creativity, while its relationship with the wider world was hampered by its complete contempt of the press. Journalists are not the center of the universe, but such disregard was not well received, particularly in Ferrari's native Italy. The critics got more critical. And not without reason. Marchionne reportedly recognized the stellar work Binotto had undertaken with Ferrari's engine department in the wake of Luca Marinini's mid-2014 exit and appointed him as chief technical officer. Binotto preferred a more open culture, and it was little surprise that Ferrari's creativity flourished in 2017 and 2018, even if there were missteps along the way. Binotto's stature was rising. Ferrari's reputation had flatlined. Marchionne had already made two key decisions in 2018 before his untimely and shocking death, and the first of those was honored soon after, with the news that Charles Leclerc would replace Kimi Räikkönen for 2019. That news came as Ferrari's title bid again began to stutter. While Mercedes made well-judged and rational decisions, doing so in a blameless culture under Toto Wolff, Ferrari appeared their diametric opposites. Strategy blunders in Germany and Italy proved critical. Mistakes from its lead driver raised questions as to how he was being managed, particularly in contrast to the Lewis Hamilton, Mercedes situation, while Ferrari's outburst after another clanger in Japan revealed a team in a fractious position. Ferrari's operational weaknesses were too costly, and by the closing months of the campaign it was almost a running joke of waiting to see how they could dream up their next blunder. Vettel was not blameless in the setbacks, but he cut an increasingly exasperated figure, ostensibly unable to place a full trust in the Ferrari-led team, and the mistakes grew as his focus became splintered. Again, contrast this with the Hamilton-Mercedes dynamic. Once rumors surfaced that it was a case of either Ferrari or Binotto departing, it was clear that the former was under the most pressure. Marchionne had reportedly already made his choice, and, as with Leclerc, it has been honored. And thus into the breach steps Binotto. The quietly understated Binotto has risen through the ranks across his 23-year period with Ferrari, his trajectory more akin to that of Ferrari life for Stefano Domenicali than long-term Philip Morris executive and politically minded Ferrari. Binotto now enters a honeymoon period, but that will not last if his Ferrari team is unable to dislodge Mercedes. Ferrari's list of ins and outs in the last 5 years is not a short one. On track, Ferrari is in its healthiest position for a decade, even accounting for 2018 setbacks, having taken 6 wins last year. It fell short of sustaining a year-long challenge, but had the aptitude to recognize where it had gone wrong in developing its SF71H and put measures in place to rectify the situation. It enters 2019 as a genuine title contender. But there are still several challenges. Binotto needs Vettel operating at a level he has not consistently reached in years if he is to overhaul Hamilton, and must do so while tempering the expectations of new recruit Leclerc, whose talent needs to be carefully guided. Getting the most out of both drivers, while ensuring that have a profitable working relationship, will be vital. When, where, and how to decide who and why to back may well also define title ambitions. It will be a delicate balance. Binotto must unlock the strength of Ferrari's senior race team to avoid the errors that derailed some 2018 races, placing trust in both his own decisions while delegating effectively, knowing when to take charge and when to defer to those entrusted positions. In the modern era of split-second choices and communication across several departments in an organization of thousands of people, the role of a team principal has probably never been so multi-layered. It means that off-track Binotto will also face tests. Both Wolff and Red Bull's Christian Horner have proved largely media-savvy in an era of 24/7 news coverage, a constant request for interviews, and regular appearances both in front of fans and for corporate events at Grand Prix weekends. Binotto is now the public figurehead for Ferrari, and his words will be regularly assessed and analyzed, particularly in Italy. Getting the press back on side will help. Binotto will also play a crucial role in representing Ferrari's views in meetings with fellow team bosses and Formula One management, with Crunch Post 2020 talks looming on the agenda. Ferrari has enjoyed many advantages that Liberty is keen to address and which the Italian operation will not be so eager to relinquish. His predecessor, Arar Valbine, was well versed in Formula One politics through his previous role at Philip Morris and his erstwhile position as the sponsor's representative in key discussions. Binotto also has the senior hierarchy to take into account itself, an unknown at this stage due to the low-profile chairman John Elkann and CEO Louis Camilleri have taken regarding Formula One since Martian's untimely passing. Will Binotto's team deliver?